This is Back with You at 42 by Kimberly Krey. Chapter 1. Ashley. Tomorrow is my wedding day. The day I'll say yes to Ross Bryn, my future husband. I'm making a smart choice. A safe choice. A choice I have weighed from every possible angle. I love Ross. It's not the reckless sort of love I had with Mr. Unnameable. When I was young, dumb, and intellectually numb, that was a dangerous sort of love. The sort that broke my heart so entirely that part of it even died one day. But having a dead part in your heart isn't such a bad thing. Not when the part that died was the foolish part. The part that believed in a fairy tale type of love that doesn't really exist. Ross is going to be a dentist, which is perfect because I just earned my degree as a dental hygienist. Shortly after the wedding, we'll fly to Louisville, Kentucky, where Ross will complete dental school, and we'll start our lives together. Hello? A hand waves before my face, the bright purple manicure pulling me from my musings. Earth to Ashley. Put your arms up, girl. Let's get this thing on you. My lashes flutter as I focus on Shelley, who's holding my bride-to-be sash with her outstretched hands. There you are, she says when my eyes meet hers. Lift up those arms, shorty. It's time to don your party favors. She proceeds to slip the thing over my head as Jessica comes in with a tiara. Yes, girl, queen, Jessica says as she digs the spiky clips along my scalp to make it stay. They're wearing party favors of their own. Sashes titled Bridesmaid 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They have crowns too, but theirs are smaller with far less diamonds, of course, because tonight is, as my bridesmaid party assures me, my night. Now, I know Ross doesn't want you to drink tonight, Jessica says, but you can at least do one celebration shot with us. She ushers me to a tall table with an inflatable palm tree resting in the center. A sign dangles from one of its puffy palm fronds, reserved for the bride-to-be and her beaches. Okay, I say, trying my best to sound resigned. Ross has strong opinions, and since I'm more of a go-with-the-flow type of gal, I don't mind letting him dictate aspects that he feels strongly about, hence the no drinking while we're apart rule. But what my friends don't know is that Ross changed his mind and decided it was fine if we each had just one celebratory drink at our events, which means I get to take the shot and skip the lingering side of guilt for going against Ross's wishes on such a momentous night. The rather hunky bartender. I wonder when I'll stop noticing things like that. Brings the round of shots to our table personally, before adding a heap of whipped cream on top of mine and holding it out for me. So we lose another, the handsome guy says with a wink. Tell me, are you handing out any party favors tonight? Say, in the form of an innocent celebration kiss? He taps the corner of his lips. I know I am, Shelley says. Me too, Jessica coos. I grin, knowing I'm about to say no, but still basking in the delicious warmth of feeling desired. I haven't been looked at in such a way since a time I refuse to reflect on. I clear my throat. Sorry, I say, we might not have exchanged vows yet. But I am a taken woman. And he's a lucky man, the bartender says, lifting my hand to his lips and pressing a kiss to it. I blush, and my bridal party lets out a collective sigh. You ladies enjoy your night, he says before heading back to the bar. Jessica stretches her arm toward the center of the table, nudging the inflatable palm to one side. Who's giving the toast? I am. My sister Annika cheers. We stretch our shot glasses toward the center. To Ashley, may this be the long-lasting love she's been searching for. We clink glasses. I slurp the mound of cream off the top before tipping mine back, then shudder violently. Yeesh, I say, giving in to yet another shiver. The girls laugh and pull me onto the dance floor. Let's dance before the food comes, Shelley says. As I head onto the dance floor, I feel on top of the world. I am going to get loose with my bridesmaids and enjoy the night. As we dance, I take a moment to reflect on the special friendship I have with each of them. Jessica is stylish, confident, and flirtatious. Shelley is sophisticated, passionate, and loyal to a fault. And of course, my sister Annika has been and always will be my number one in life. I'm not sure I see that changing after marriage. Maybe it's a naive notion, but I like to think that my only sister will be my ride or die forever. Sisters Chantel and Lindsay, who are also part of my bridal party, have that kind of kinship too. I'm the baby of the group, a result of having moved up a grade in elementary. Despite that fact, I'm a pioneer among them, the first to brave the trail of matrimony, and I like that. I've known since I was a little girl that I wanted to get married and have a family, and now I'm well on my way. The night moves on, and I dance like I've never danced before. High on caffeine, courtesy of a few Diet Cokes, I enjoy my final evening of singlehood. I'm considering a third Diet Coke as we make our way back to the bar when one of our favorite line dance songs blasts over the speakers. It's later now, the hour when they increase the volume for that perfect dance night vibe. "This is it," Annika yells. "Let's move it," Shelley cheers. Since Jessica is busy flirting with the bartender, I tug on her hand. "To be continued," I tell him. He lifts a hand and waves. "Catch you later, Jessica." I spin around and, in my hurry to join the others on the floor, run right into a passerby with a dizzying thud. "Oomph!" I yelp, and press my smushed cheek away from the rather rock-hard chest I ran into. I stumble back as a pair of muscular arms steadies me in place. Whoever this guy is, he is buff, and he's good on his feet, having stayed upright after being billy goat rammed by the bride-to-be, and, man, he smells good. I wonder if I have a concussion. "Sorry," comes a masculine voice. But it's not just any voice. Sure, the music is thumping, and Jessica is somewhere in the background asking me if I'm all right. And yeah, I did just knock my head upside the marble-strength mass of muscle before me. But still, I'm almost positive I recognize that deep, masculine voice, a voice that reaches right into my lower tummy with a tightening twist. My pulse spikes, a hot flash in my chest as I step back and slowly lift my gaze, past the well-defined chest with also familiar olive-toned skin, past a very chiseled jaw with a dusting of devastating facial hair, and right into the eyes of a man I never thought I'd see again. It's him, Mr. Unnameable. The man who killed a part of my heart, an organ that plummets straight to my feet and keels over, dead. His name is the closest thing to an oath in my world, but it flies off my lips like a bird set free. Liam.
Liam. Keep it together, Liam. Keep it together. The fact that my inner coach is speaking up is not a good thing. It means I'm in panic mode and trying hard to stay calm. But calm, my friends, has left the building because I'm standing face to face with my reason for being here tonight. "Hey, Ashley," I rasp, taking in the stunning sight of her. No, I'm more than just taking in the sight of her. When a man's been deprived of oxygen and he finally gets that blessed gasp, he inhales with greedy desperation, and so do I in this moment. Dang, she looks good. Those gorgeous brown eyes, that shiny black hair, and a figure that still hasn't seen a day of neglect. "Easy, Liam," Coach urges. I can't say I'm shocked to see Ashley Chen here since she's the reason I came tonight, but this isn't the sort of running into her I had in mind. Ashley, however, would look less surprised if she saw the ghost of Elvis. I lower my head to speak over the blasting beat. I'd have preferred to have this conversation at a different time in a different place, but you know what they say about beggars. "How are you?" I inhale her subtle scent, sweet like a crisp, tangy apple. "Ah." She adjusts the small crown on her head and shrugs. "Fine." Her delicate hand slides down the sash she wears over her blouse. And though I know Ashley's here for her bachelorette party, the sight of that phrase, bride-to-be, toys with my mind. I don't read it as if she's someone else's bride-to-be. I read it like she's about to be mine. I never thought Ashley wouldn't belong to me, nor I to her. Yet here we are, surrounded by strangers in a moment that comes down to my one final shot. My friends are on the dance floor," Ashley adds, pointing toward the group. I'm lip-reading mostly, since she has taken a step back. I shoot a half-glance at them before fixing my gaze back on her. Please, God, let her hear me out. Let her give me a chance. Her dark brown eyes are full of shock and, well, I can't be sure. Longing, maybe? Desire? Unless that's just wishful thinking. I step closer once more and lean in. Hey, I heard you were going to be here tonight, and I came here because I have something to tell you. I pause, but only for a beat. I don't want her to stop me from saying what I came to say. I want you to know that losing you is the biggest regret of my life. My voice breaks from the truth of that confession. The tip of my nose grazes her silky, fragrant hair as I speak closer to her ear, not wanting her to miss a word. I know you're getting married tomorrow. The admission makes my voice shake. If Ross is the right one for you, then I'll be happy for you. I really will. But if there is any doubt in that pretty head of yours, I cup a palm around her shoulder. If you ever spend sleepless nights like I do, wondering what could have been between us, then I'm begging you to hold off on the wedding and consider giving me a chance. My head spins. My pulse spikes. Every event in my life has led me to this very moment. A moment I would have seized sooner if I'd had the chance. It might seem like a jerk move to drop this bomb the night before her wedding, but being the nice guy is what got me here to begin with. If I hadn't been thinking of her best interest, I would never have suggested we step back from our 3-year relationship. The thing is, Ashley and I went on our first date when she was just 15 years old. By the time she turned 16, Ashley in her junior year and me in my senior, we became exclusive. We were known as a power couple, in fact, staying strong until we both graduated. During my first year of college, I was inundated with advice about the importance of dating around. I started to worry that, if Ashley never dated anyone else, she'd come to resent me one day. I addressed it after Ashley had a year of college under her belt as well. I didn't think I was ending things. I thought I was giving her the chance to date around if she wanted, to make sure she was sure that I was, in fact, the one. I wanted to do right by her. Talk about a misfire. I don't know about you, I add, but I don't want some what-if question haunting me for the rest of my life. What I did was stupid, and I want a chance to make it right. I straighten and pull back enough to look at her. Her brow furrows, her lips get tight, and she turns her head to look decidedly away from me. I stand there, unmoving, barely breathing, willing her to say she feels the same. To say she, too, wonders nonstop about what could have been. It's not the first time I've reached out. After the breakup, I sent texts, showed up at her work. I even reached out to her sister, Annika. It's not that I didn't respect Ashley's choice to split up if that's what she really wanted. It's that she misunderstood my reasons for taking a break. I wasn't being selfish. I didn't want to see other women. I was only in love with her. I let her be, relying on the old butterfly adage, praying that she really was mine and that she'd come back to me one day. A year ago, I gave it one more try. I sent her a handwritten letter with sentiments to rival that of the sappiest sucker in town. Nada. My heart wallops, hot, sloppy thumps out of beat, as Ashley lowers her chin and looks down at her feet. Oh no, this is it, isn't it? It's the moment I'm supposed to walk away and move on with my life. I take a single step back. I mean, only if you feel the same way, I say loud enough to be heard over the music. I don't want to sidetrack you or make you second-guess something if you're sure it's right. It's sort of a lie, though that's exactly what I want to do, because I'm positive that Ross freaking Bryn is not the right guy for her. Ashley glances at her friends on the dance floor, down to her feet again, and then back up at me. I can't believe I'm actually face-to-face with Ashley Chen right now, at this very moment. I want to pull her into my arms and feel her warm and snug against me. Nostalgia, longing, love, and heartache. It's a cocktail so strong my knees go wobbly and weak. She's the same in so many ways. The same girl I fell in love with, but she's different too. I'm used to reading her mind by simply gauging her expression. Yet now, as I look at her full, beautiful pout, as I sense the chaos flashing behind her brown eyes, I'm at a loss. I have no idea what she's thinking. No idea if she feels the same. No idea if I'm making a fool out of myself. She stammers. I step forward, anxious to hear what she has to say, but she shakes her head and dies off there. Her chin quivers and tears well in her eyes. The sight is razor sharp and dagger deep in my chest. It's like deja vu, a momentous spot in our lives, and I'm making her cry yet again. "Did you get my letter?" I blurt. I want her to say no, she didn't get it. I want her to say that if she had gotten it, I'd be the one standing at the altar tomorrow, not Ross freaking Bryn. Ashley nods but says nothing. Nothing like, "It made me miss you. It made me want to call you or reach out, but I was just too proud or scared or unsure." I stare at her, waiting for one little word of acknowledgement. Anything that says she thinks about me too. It doesn't come. The song changes, seeming to say, "Time's up, pal. Move along." "So that's it," I lean in to say. "One strike and I'm out, huh? You're never going to give me a second chance." I take a step back, willing Ashley to stop me, willing myself to try harder before I walk away forever. I take another step back, and Ashley tilts her head to one side. She's chewing her lip and spinning the ring on her pointer finger, and just like that I'm transported through time. Times when I caught her doing that very thing, and it was always when she was holding back, trying not to say whatever balanced on the tip of her tongue. "Come on, Ash, just say it." "Are you good, Ashley?" Annika asks, coming up behind her before looking at me. "Hi, Liam." My face flushes with heat. Their whole family probably views me as the jerk who broke Ashley's heart. "Hey, Annika." "Yeah, I'm good," Ashley tells her sister. "I'll be there in a minute." Once Annika strides away, I take a step closer to Ashley. "Do you love him?" I ask, my voice breaking once again. Ashley pins her lips closed, and her cheeks glow red. A desperate part of me sees this as an opening door. Even if it's just a crack, I'll shoot my shot. I step even closer, cup her elbows with my hands, and ask one more time, "Are you really in love with him? Like you were with me?" The pause is painful, a space where my desperation crashes head-on with blind, reckless hope. "Just tell me," I urge. At last, she lifts her chin and gives me a curt nod. "I love him, Liam, and we're getting married tomorrow." She steps back and looks me up and down before meeting my eyes for maybe the last time ever. "Goodbye."
Chapter 2. Ashley. 22 years later. To call or not to call Liam Wheaton? That is the question. I'm tempted to flip a coin and let heads or tails determine my fate. Why not? Years of careful consideration, tireless scrutiny, and the weighing of options are what got me here. Over 20 years ago, Ross Bryn and I left Virginia Beach as a young married couple. Our hopes and dreams were awaiting runway, and our bright, glimmering future was lifting off with a flourish. 2 months ago, however, Ross and I returned as a divorced couple with 2 deflated teenagers. The kids and I live with my parents and my deceased granddad's second wife, Nini. Don't ask how Mom and Dad got stuck with Nini, the perpetual grouch, but they did. Ross, who's renting a 3-bedroom apartment nearby, says it's wasteful for both of us to pay rent, especially since the kids and I can live at my parents' for free. I know what you're thinking. We're not married anymore, so why am I listening to him? I don't have a solid answer for that, but I can say that my urge to stand up to the man I'm no longer married to grows stronger each day. In fact, I think I'm getting very close to doing something about it. Open a little wider and tilt your chin to the right, I urge the dental patient reclined before me. It's Loretta Sharon, my old piano teacher. She turns her head just so, giving me, and the overhead light, perfect access to the lower quad I'm working on. Nice, I praise. Last section, and then we're all done. I love being a dental hygienist. I enjoy nearly everything the job entails, meeting new patients, tracking their conditions as well as their life milestones over the years, and, of course, my favorite part, the dental cleanings. My tools aren't made of gold or anything, but the stainless steel collection is like a treasure, helping me swiftly remove plaque and the solidified form of plaque. Calculus. And don't even get me started on one of the greatest dental tools invented, the ultrasonic. It actually uses sound waves to break up tartar while simultaneously spraying it off the surface. Talk about genius. No matter how thick and deep the buildup, I can get the surface squeaky clean, and that's more satisfying than I can say. Sometimes, a patient will have so much buildup that I have to tackle it a quadrant at a time. the upper left at one appointment and the upper right the next. The lowers get divided into 2 more visits until every tooth and gum line glistens. Treating problems, often eliminating issues altogether, is rewarding work. It can be the difference between patients keeping their teeth or losing them due to eroded bone structure beneath the gums. We chat a bit as I floss Loretta's teeth, me pausing to let her respond before I move back in and ask about things like her husband's knee replacement, her grandkids' latest accomplishments, and the craft boutique she opened up on Main. It's nice to catch up on things from home, even if I am living just outside of the city for now. At last, I give her a final rinse and apply the fluoride foam treatment. She prefers hot cinnamon. Dr. Bryn will be in for the final exam and to look over your x-rays, I tell her with a glance over my shoulder. The panel shows that room 1 is already flashing for his attention. I peel off my gloves and press room 3. There's just one patient ahead of you. Would you like me to sit you upright while you wait? Sure, Loretta says. Thank you. I push the toe of my shoe against the foot pedal until she's sitting upright. Loretta grabs the magazine resting across her lap and thumbs aimlessly through the pages. I hope you don't mind my asking this, she says, with a glance over her shoulder. My gut churns because I know exactly what she's going to ask. You and Dr. Bryn seem to get along pretty well for a recently divorced couple. She chuckles awkwardly. Do you think there's a chance you two will? She drifts off as I shake my head. No, I assure her with a glance to the hallway, and then the panel once more. Room 1 is no longer flashing, which means Ross is in there now. We had an amicable divorce, I explain, and when we decided as a family to move back to Virginia Beach, Ross said I may as well work for him since he'd already bought into half the practice here. The truth is that Ross talked me into it against my better judgment. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel divorced when I still work with him like I did when we were married. It's familiar, at times. The easy groove of a busy workday. But at other times, it's awkward and forced. I used to be more agreeable. Sure, whatever you say. Sounds great. Good idea. We were a team after all, and at the office, he was the boss. But lately, I find myself getting defensive and wanting to snap back or argue. Loretta shrugs. Yeah, well, there aren't a whole lot of dental practices around here, she supposes. And since Dr. Bryn teamed up with Dr. Bingham, the closest dentist to your folks' place, you were probably stuck working for one or the other. This from a sensible woman. A woman far too sensible to work for a man she used to be married to. But the fact is, I had plenty of options. Right, I say with a nod. Loretta holds my gaze. She knows I'm holding back. She sees that I'm weak. I'm the type that gets bulldozed in relationships, and even though my romantic relationship with Ross is a thing of the past, the dynamic remains the same. Well, dear, thank you again for the great work. She looks at my name tag a moment too long while a crease furrows her brow. If you ever decide you're ready to date again, you should check out that 40-something singles group. I hear the Wheaton twins go, since they're both divorced. Did you know that? An image of Liam Wheaton drifts like a dragonfly through the pleasant parts of my mind. Maybe it's the sign I was waiting for. I should call him and see if he'll keep his eyes out for a 3-bedroom home or apartment. He owns a real estate agency after all. I did hear that, I admit. Didn't you used to date the nice one? The nice one. It makes me smile. Compared to bad boy Luke Wheaton, Liam most definitely is the nice one. Or at least, he was. I haven't spoken to the guy in years. Yes, I say, resisting the urge to gush about the fact that he was my first love. And what a first love he was. I'd come to wonder if my relationship with Liam ruined me for every other guy I would date. No one has patience like Liam, no one's as attentive as Liam, and no one knows how to kiss the way he does, or at least did. I feel a blush rise to my cheeks. Hey Ashley, may I talk to you in my office before you leave? Ross says, leaning his head through the walkway. Okay, I say, but we'll need to make it quick. Martin has that session with his chess coach. I glance down at my name tag on the way out of the room. Ashley Chen. Maybe that's what she was noticing. the fact that I've already gone back to my maiden name. I hurry to the break room and contemplate a to-go cup of coffee for the drive home. The smartwatch on my wrist lets out a buzz. If I don't leave within the next 10 minutes, Martin will be late. I stare at the back exit and dare myself to just walk out. May I talk to you in my office? I don't like how formally he addresses me here. Sure, he's technically my boss, but he relishes that authority more than he should. Hey, Ross, I say while stepping into the hallway. He's leading Loretta to the front desk. Bye, Loretta, he says. You have a wonderful day. Tell Patrick and the fam hi for me, will you? His gaze veers toward one of the assistants down the hall, Brenda, a woman in her early 30s who adores Ross. Heck, all the women in the office adore the man besides me. Will do, Loretta beams. Bye, Ashley. I give Loretta a wave, then look back at Ross in time to catch his heated glare. Dr. Bryn, Ashley, please address me as Dr. Bryn in the office, not Ross. The irritation in his tone makes me grit my teeth. Okay, I have to go. To Dr. Bryn. Can we save the chat for tomorrow? Andrea, the front desk assistant, bounces by with a pink box full of jumbo cookies, reminding me that the staff meeting is about to take place. At least Ross doesn't make me go to those. Ross lifts a fist over his head. Looks like you're getting ready to rumble, he says, referring to the song he plays at the start of each office meeting. You know it, Dr. Bryn? Once she makes her way up to the front, Ross pins his gaze back on me. Martin's chess coach can wait. He breezes past me. Please step into my office. Irritated, I spin on one foot and follow him in. Ross takes a seat behind his desk and nods to the open doorway. Close the door, please. My eyes widen. Why? Ashley. It's his standard way of reprimanding me when I'm exhausting him. She should know better than to question my superior authority, he's thinking. I close the door harder than necessary and spin around with my arms folded. Have a seat. He motions to one of the free chairs across from his desk. Nope, that's where I'm drawing the line. I'm not his dog, and he's not going to tell me when and where to sit. No, he'll just tell you everything else to do, and you'll roll over and do it. The words summon an image of our old floppy golden doodle, Shay Shay, who's no longer with us, sadly. If the kids and I get our own place, though, we could head out to the shelter and get another furry little friend. When I don't take a seat, Ross pipes up anyway. I don't want people to suspect we're bringing marital discord into the office. I resist an eye roll. And why would they suspect that? His focus drops to the name tag on my lab coat. For starters, you refuse to wear the office motto magnet. That shows a lack of support and a sour spirit. This time I give in to the eye roll. I make a show of sliding my hands into the front pockets. The right pocket holds the cheesy magnet with a broad grin. The words, Dr. Bryn for the grin, printed across the teeth. I slap it onto the empty space on my name tag, which is still fastened along the lapel. There. Happy? His brow furrows as he stares at me like I'm his rebellious child. My eyes wander to the ridiculous corkboard creation Brenda and the other gals made for him. Bright bubble letters along the top spell. Bryn's Beauties. I was supposed to send a selfie to Brenda in time for them to present the gift, but I was fine not being a part of it. Brenda understood. Ross, on the other hand, insisted I have adequate representation on the board, so he added a horrible printout of my 7th grade yearbook photo. Forget the fact that the man has access to more recent photos of me than anyone on the planet. He went out of his way to dig up the old photo as a form of punishment. My hair is horrible, my skin is bad, and a massive set of braces makes my chapped lips bulge. Score 1 for me, though, because I'm ignoring it. Lucy recently showed me a TikTok about power plays. My non-reaction to his outlandish behavior zaps the power from said behavior. So, there. It's not just the name tag, Ashley. His tone is far too serious for the topic, like a therapist urging a patient to dig deep, look inward, and discover some hidden morsel of truth. You've also refused to put the bumper sticker on the Camry. Why? Is he seriously asking this? Geez, maybe it's because I think the logo is cheesy and narcissistic. Maybe it's because I'm not married to you anymore, so I'm no longer obligated to be your #1 fan. I shrug and offer an excuse instead. I keep forgetting to do it. Why don't you do it when you go to the car right now? Because I'm in a hurry, Ross, and the car's dirty. If I put it on while the car's dirty, it won't stick. Please put that bumper sticker on soon. What helps me helps you. Our paychecks come from the same patients, so can we please act like a team? Can we please act like a team is code for. Can you please support me in making all the decisions and stop trying to have a mind or opinion of your own? It was a mistake to work here with Ross. I know that, but I just don't know how to fix it without major conflict or upsetting the kids. Also, he adds, when you refuse to call me Dr. Bryn, I lose a certain level of... He pauses, and his eyes search for the word like it's on the walls someplace. I assume he's about to say importance when he goes in a different direction. Respect from my staff. You see, plus, your refusal to do so reminds them that we were once married, but now we're divorced. They might assume we're secretly feuding. We'd be not so secretly feuding if I had any dignity. But because I simply go along with practically everything the man says, does, or wants, the feuds are few and far between. Don't you agree? I refold my arms again and nod stiffly. Yep, gotta go. I spin around, fling open the door, and get halfway out of the room when Ross speaks up again. I heard you tell Loretta that Martin wants to take piano lessons. Now I'm really clenching my teeth and making fists so tight my trimmed nails bite into my skin. This is the one area in our marriage where I don't back down so easily. Later. I rush out of his office and down the hall, briefly waving at the ladies gathered in the waiting room on my way out. Enjoy your dumb meeting, I want to say, but I don't. I already know what Ross wants to say about Martin taking piano lessons. He didn't want Martin playing chess either. Despite the fact that Ross was never athletic himself, he was determined to have a son who excelled in sports. When none of the options took, Ross figured Martin would change his tune by the time he got to middle school and then high school. Now that the chances are slipping away, he's probably lecturing Martin more than ever. Not that Martin would dare tell me about it. And Ross would know better than to breach the subject when our highly vocal 17-year-old daughter, Lucy, was around. Lucy would put her dad in his place, and then she'd tell me all about it. I make a mental note to ask Martin about the subject soon. Once I get in the car, I can already hear Ross's hyped-up music blasting. The worst part is that he waits until all of his beauties are gathered in the waiting room. Then, he pumps up his jam and shimmies into the room while the ladies cheer. It's nauseating. I glance down to see the stupid bumper sticker sitting face up on the seat. Bryn for the grin. I grumble. How about Ross for the loss? Loss of dignity and self-respect to start. I grab the annoying bumper sticker, flick it onto the floorboard, where it lands face down, and bask in the momentary satisfaction.
Chapter 3. Liam. I tear open the small package of restaurant wet wipes, given only to patrons who order the smothered wings, and tug out the small, saturated wipe. I look at my brothers, who are seated around the table, while I wipe the stickiness away, sensing that something is up. Lunch is typically a noisy affair among the Wheaton men, but today they've been oddly quiet. I have the feeling they're about to remedy that with something geared in my direction, something I'm already dreading. Braxton and Beau look at each other, nod slightly, and then turn to my twin, Luke. I follow their gaze to see Luke shrug and finish his sandwich in one last bite. Hey Liam, Braxton begins, we've been kind of noticing. Who's we? I interrupt, because obviously Luke doesn't seem invested. I have been noticing, Braxton continues, along with Beau and Luke, that you seem to be sort of. He fiddles with his napkin as his lips twist. I clear my throat and suck in a long, slow breath. Sort of what? My limbs tighten, a preemptive defense that's become second nature to me. Stuck. Beau fills in for him. Really? I sound as pissed off as I am, so I take it down a notch on the volume. Stuck how exactly? Do you need them to spell it out for you? Luke mumbles over his food. Stuck in your little pity party ways, Beau fills in. Leave it to him to be the bluntest one of the bunch. Okay, Braxton says. That's not the way we wanted to address it, but yeah, we know you're dating and everything, but we think you're too busy feeling sorry for yourself to give anyone a real chance. Fear obviously plays a part in that too, Bo says, setting both elbows on the table and lowering his chin. Listen, I know you've been. He puts up finger quotes. Playing the field for a while now. You're going to the 40-something singles meetups, you're asking women out here and there. But it doesn't seem like you're really giving any of them a chance. Facts, Luke pipes up while reaching for his drink. I lean back against my seat and glare at my newly engaged brother Bo. Spoken like a man who found his next fiancée mere months after his divorce. I'm not sure whether I sound accusatory or just plain jealous. The fact is, I am jealous. Here, Luke and I have been playing the field for a collective 3.5 years, and suddenly, Bo swoops in and picks up the newest, hottest single right after his divorce like it's the easiest thing in the world. My situation is different, and you know it, Bo says evenly. Yes, it is. The look in his eyes reminds me that Bo's gone through hell in his own right. The poor guy found out Trish was having an affair with the married father of his son's best friend. Wrap your head around that one. After discovering that indiscretion, something Bo did alongside Kirsten, the other man's wife, the disgruntled pair became friends and later fell in love. I glare over at Braxton and Luke next. I don't even need to gear up for these guys. And you two, I shake my head. Braxton, good for you for suddenly growing a human heart after acting like a pig for all these years. You finally found your dream woman. I'm happy for Maggie and you both. I don't sound like I mean it, but I mostly do. I turn to my twin next. And Luke, you're still waiting for that transplant, aren't you? At least I know how to treat a woman. At least I treated Gabrielle like a queen when we were married. Yeah, too bad she was busy treating you like a peasant, he says with a sneer. The jerk probably sat across from me for a reason. If he were any closer, I'd clock him. Well then, it's no wonder I'm having a hard time moving on. I slam my hands on the table, glad we're in a noisy sandwich joint and not some fancy restaurant with fragile china and haughty guests. You think I'm supposed to just trust again all of a sudden? After I gave Gabrielle my heart, my life, my everything, and she just crapped all over it like it was garbage? That's the whole point. It's been almost 2 years, and you're still sussed out by everyone. You think they're all going to be exactly like Gabrielle, and that's just not the case. I don't think everyone is going to be like her, I defend. No? Braxton snaps. You came up with the code GV for every time a woman gives you Gabrielle vibes. He shakes his head. Not healthy. My inner coach comes out and tells me to take a few deep breaths. Bo gives Braxton a nod in the quiet pause. Braxton tips his head. I put it in Luke's briefcase. All eyes turn to Luke as he produces something from his case. Instead of sliding it toward me, though, he hands it over to Braxton. Braxton shields the cover with his chest and lowers his chin to point a serious look at me. I think this book could change your life, he says. And when I talked to Bo and Luke about it, they agreed. This copy has been signed personally by the author, who Maggie met at her coffee shop. This guy knows what he's talking about, trust me. With that dramatic introduction, Braxton finally hands over the stupid book. It's a hardbound copy with huge black and red font across the cover. I'm tempted to read it aloud, but since that would be for my brother's benefit, I read it silently instead. Not everybody is your ex. A guide to getting over yourself and getting into someone new. I plop the book down and turn my chin to one side. I glare at each of my brothers in turn. Getting over myself? Are you guys freaking serious? Braxton's the only one with enough decency to look ashamed with a downcast glance, but soon he looks back at me. I knew you wouldn't like the subtitle. I don't like any of it. This is a slap in the face after everything I've been through. Maybe you need to get slapped upside the head, Bo says. How else will you get out of your lame poor me rut? Coach is waving both arms now, a desperate attempt to delay my reaction until I calm down. You know what, Luke says. I know I agreed to back you up with this little powwow here, but I'm kind of with Liam on this one. I don't think he's the problem, and I don't think I'm the problem either. Women are the problem. And now that you two are living in La La Land with your brides-to-be, Luke says accusingly with nods to Braxton and Bo in turn. You're out of touch with how things really are. We've been out here playing the 40-something field, which is something you never had to do, Braxton, and something Bo barely had a taste of. But for Liam and me, man, it's rough. I think we're killing it under the circumstances. Luke pins a satisfied look on both brothers in turn, his shoulders and chest puffing like he's proud of himself. What a load of crap, Braxton says. Seriously, Bo agrees. Luke secures his napkin and dabs his face. I thought it was poetic. He crinkles the napkin, throws it toward the center of the table, and tosses a few bills on top of it. I've got to get back to work. He stands, makes his way toward the exit, and swats Tina, a waitress he used to date, on the tush before walking out the door. Luke, she squeals playfully. You're so bad. I shake my head. Luke's doing crap like that, and I'm the one you're worried about? He's beyond help, Bo says like it's obvious. The fact is, I don't want to be lumped in with the Lukes of the world. I study the two left sitting at the table. They say if you want to become successful, you should surround yourself with successful people. Braxton and Bo have successfully found what I, myself, am looking for. And while I think it's got more to do with luck than anything else, I'd rather be like them than like my divorced chronic bachelor twin brother who's now reverting to his old high school behavior. Which, Tina aside, doesn't exactly fly in this day and age. I look down at the book and groan. My defenses are revving hot and ready for battle. Barry Brown is the author's name. That joker doesn't know what I've been through. No one does, not even my brothers. Heck, I couldn't tell them all the crud Gabrielle did while we were married, or they'd hate her. After the divorce, I still couldn't tell them, or they'd lose respect for me. Not that they hadn't seen enough for themselves at family events. If it will make you guys happy, I'll take the book, I say. But I'm probably not going to read it. You should at least read more than the title, Bo says. Give it a shot. Maggie thinks this is fate, Braxton says. The book that came into her shop when she met me made a big difference in our relationship. And she thinks this one could make a big difference in your life too. I manage. Look, Braxton adds, either it will help you or it won't. But on the chance that it does, what have you got to lose? The phrase, what have you got to lose, is possibly one of the most overused phrases around. But right now, the words actually land because it's the second time I've heard them in one day. Just this morning, my 17-year-old son, Cam, suggested I ask out his history teacher, who happens to be single. She's lonely, Dad, like you. When I told him I wasn't sure it'd be kosher, he countered with, oh yeah? What have you got to lose? Are you going to tell him? Braxton asks Bo like I'm not at the table anymore. The two look at me before glancing over their shoulder toward the exit. Luke is long gone. Bo clears his throat. It's a matter of time before you find this out for yourself, he prefaces, but Ashley's back in town. It feels like a grenade has gone off in my chest. Huh? Well, she's living just outside of town, but she's back, divorced. Cue the second cliché of the day, the ever-elusive pine-provoking, one that got away. I gulp, not wanting to do anything with the information. Simultaneously, I want to do everything. There's a barrier, and I don't know how thin that barrier is. That prevents me from doing all the things that play out in my mind. Call her, text her, hit her up on social media, stage a happen to run into her event. But then, something occurs to me. She hasn't even reached out. It's a crappy feeling, actually, one I work to sort through aloud. She has to know I'm divorced. We see Annika at the singles meetups all the time. I'm surprised she didn't tell me. Bo shifts in his seat and takes a swig of his drink. Loretta said Ashley's living with her folks. She and her ex share custody of the kids. I don't know how long it's been, but according to Loretta, she's using her maiden name again. I nod, thinking that's a good indication she doesn't see herself going back to him down the road. That's another fear of mine when dating a recent divorcee. I run a hand down my face, wishing I could erase whatever makes me look broken. There's a new emotion threatening to rise, prickly and hot. Rejection, jealousy, hurt. I've always sort of figured that if things didn't work out for Ashley, she'd be anxious to reach out to me, knowing I'm divorced and all. I glance at the offending book once more. I barely manage the reply through the hot stings searing my blood. It's supposedly my fault I'm still single after giving everything I had to the woman I married and the family we made together. I'm the one who has to get over myself. You know what? I say, scooting my chair back and coming to a stand. I retrieve my wallet, toss a few 20s on the table, and leave the book where it rests, right on a sticky glob of sauce in the wadded wipe. I don't think I'll take that after all. Tell Maggie thanks anyway. I've got to get back to the office too. Catch you guys later.
Chapter 4. Ashley. Nini glares hatefully at the glowing candles as we sing happy birthday to her. It's a full house consisting of, aside from Nini and me, the kids, my parents, and my sister Annika. About 10 years ago, my parents sold the family home and got a condo just outside of town. The place has 3 bedrooms, a master suite for Mom and Dad, a bedroom for ornery old Nini, and the office craft room with 2 desks and a closet filled with Mom's neglected dreams of suddenly becoming crafty. Since moving back, the kids sleep in the den. Martin keeps his stuff in Dad's old treasure chest, while Lucy lives out of her suitcase. I'm the lucky one staying in the multi-purpose room, which has a futon with a mattress soft as concrete and a classic set of encyclopedias in case I need a sleep aid. Nini, bless her, who's never been happy in life, finds joy in the simple things, like voicing her misery and blaming said misery on me, the kids, and my parents for letting me and the kids move in. Happy birthday, dear Nini. Happy birthday to you. Once the song is through, we lean forward in collective anticipation, waiting for her to blow out the candles. Oddly enough, she doesn't. The flames topping all 8 candles, representing her 78th year, sink lower in the awkward pause. Well, my daughter Lucy says as the tiny flames descend toward the lemon of all flavors cake. Are you going to blow out your candles? Nini darts a cutting glare at Lucy, her lips pursed over her teeth. Come on, Martin says softly. You want to make a wish, don't you? Nini turns the look in his direction. You superstitious fool. Nini? Mom and I blurt out in unison. I shoot Martin an I'm sorry look, and find that his face is hidden in his hands as his shoulders bounce. Lucy mirrors the action beside him, audibly fighting laughter of her own. At least they have a sense of humor about it. If they were any younger, the pair would be traumatized by the horrors of living with Nini the meanie. Are you going to blow out your candles, or should we just throw water on you instead? Dad's patience is wearing faster than the wax on the candles, most of which is puddled beneath the shrinking flames. Nini lifts her chin proudly as a light flickers in her beady eyes, a light not related to the candles. An idea has popped into that narrow head of hers, and that's usually not a good thing. Slowly then, she angles her face toward mine, fixes her lively eyes on me, and grins with her nostrils. Dread stirs low in my gut. You, she demands, jabbing a bony finger in my direction. You, blow the candles out. All eyes settle on me, causing the heat in my chest to climb up my neck. I glance at my parents, my sister, and my kids, feeling oddly exposed in the dreadful pause. Like any seasoned bully, Nini has sniffed out the weakest of the bunch, the one she can order around, and she's calling me out to prove it. I stare at the cake, willing the small flames to snuff out in the pooled wax already. I spin the bracelet on my wrist as I contemplate. What's the big deal? It's not like she asked me to slit someone's throat or anything. Still, I can't ignore the fact that this is a power play on her end. A bizarre power play, granted. Possibly one of the most bizarre in human history. I lock eyes with my sister Annika across the table. Should I mouth, shrugging. She shakes her head adamantly. I'll blow them out for you, Nini, Martin offers. Lucy puts a hand on his shoulder. No, Nini is supposed to do it. It's her birthday. Unless she's the superstitious one. I have a friend who thinks it's bad luck to blow out her own candles. I bet that's. Nini waves a scrawny hand in the air. Aw, hush up, you! Then, to my amazement, the crotchety old woman huffs out every candle in one blow. The withered wicks smolder and smoke. There. She pins a glare at Lucy. Happy? Lucy grins wide. Yep. Mom douses the discomfort by asking Martin to retrieve the dessert plates and silverware. Annika approaches me from behind and leans close to my ear. I can't believe you actually live here. My nostrils flare as I shake my head. I can't believe it either. Hey, I say, remember when we tried to fool our teachers one day in school by wearing each other's clothes and going to one another's classes? Not that we're twins or anything, but we did look an awful lot alike, and it was worth a try. Annika giggles ruefully. Don't even think about it. She lifts a hand as Mom cuts into the cake. I'll take a piece to go, Mom, if you don't mind. I hate you, I mumble under my breath. Mom dishes out the cake and distributes it throughout the table before placing Annika's in a to-go box. Where'd you get those takeout boxes? Annika asks. Lucy found them on TikTok, Dad says rather cheerfully. It'd be fair to say his bad mood was absorbed by the compliment or the cake, but it's actually Lucy who does that. The two have a special bond. It's better than sending all my Tupperware home with you only to never see them again. Mom adds, Oh, I was supposed to give those back? Annika secures the to-go box and plants a kiss on Mom's cheek. Thanks, Mom. Love you. And about the tattoo, I say go for it. She turns to me. Walk me out, will you? Gladly, I say. I trail after my sister as she hugs Dad, Martin, and Lucy, before forcing an awkward hug on Nini. Happy horrible birthday, Nini, you big old meanie. Nini swats her away. What kind of a thing is that to say to an old woman? I hope you get wrinkles early. And is that a gray hair I see? Annika grins and turns to me. Ready? I ask. If you mean, am I ready to head back to my quiet, luxurious apartment on the beach? Why then yes, I'm ready. I crack open the door. Why are you so mean? We laugh as I follow her outside. Annika drives a convertible BMW Z8, which was named one of the sexiest cars of the year in a recent article. A sliver of old-fashioned envy shudders through me. Annika is a successful wedding planner who's become very good at enjoying the fruits of her labor. And though I have worked as hard as she has all these years, I'm stuck in this crowded condo driving the Camry we bought almost 15 years ago, because, as Ross says, we remain the sole owners and the thing's in mint condition. Hey, Annika says in my silence, you could have everything I have. You know that, right? I look at her like the notion is ridiculous. Then I make my eyes wider in case she's not reading my mind anymore. My expression says, no, actually, I can't. Ashley, you make good money. Plus, you guys sold a house you owned outright, and you have half of that profit sitting in the bank. You could call Liam Wheaton tonight, tell him what you're working with, and he'd have a handful of places to look at by morning. The mere mention of calling Liam tonight makes my stomach twist and my face sweat. I'm definitely not calling him tonight, I say, sounding like the chicken I am. Annika keeps her searching gaze on me. Just because Ross wants you to hold off on buying the car you want, or the house that you want. Let me rephrase that. Just because he wants you to keep living outside of town with a trio of old people instead of mingling with the hot singles in town, doesn't mean you actually have to do that. That's not why he's doing it, I say with an eye roll. There's not even a sliver of him that still wants me, and I feel the same way. About him. I think of the plan Ross came up with, which was to wait for at least 1 year. Staying put is the best financial decision. My face flushes with a new dose of heat because that last part wasn't exactly honest. I mean, maybe it would be the smartest financial choice, but it's not my choice. I'm just going along for the ride like I always have. I glance down at my foot as I tap the side of Annika's tire. Then tell me this, Annika says, a challenge in her tone. Is it the best decision for your mental health? And the kids, think about them. They're not even sharing a bedroom, they're sharing a den. And they have to put up with Nini day in and day out after getting ripped away from their school and their friends in Oregon after their parents got divorced. Geez, Annika, I scold. What happened to the pep talk? I'm just saying. She drags the word out like when we were kids. They need to see that you can make decisions for yourself. What kind of example is it for Lucy if you just bow down to a man you're not even married to anymore? I narrow my eyes at her. I'm a really good mom. I never said you weren't, Annika says. In fact, you're a terrific mom. But is this what you would tell Lucy to do in the same situation? Or even Martin, for that matter? Heck, actions speak a lot louder than words. I nod. I know. So, you're suggesting that I look for a place in town now and commute? Not commute. Find a dentist you didn't used to be married to, and work for him. I give her a tisk. I'll think about it. But the fact is, I have been thinking about it nearly every minute of every day since we moved here 3 months ago. Call Liam, Annika urges, or better yet, come to one of the 40-something meetups, and you can talk to him in person. A clash of dread and delight shudder through me at the thought. I know you said you don't want to go to any of those yet, but I don't know what you're waiting for. Someone to swoop in and snatch Liam up for herself? The delight is vapor now, a ghost in the wake of a new and rising fear. He's a great guy, Annika continues, and there don't seem to be a whole lot of them around. Ugh, I hate how right she is, but it's true. My heart feels like it has feet of its own because suddenly it's racing wildly out of control. You haven't told him I'm back, have you? No. Annika taps her key fob so that her car unlocks. Oh, and one last thing. What I said about you attaining everything I have, that's true. Sadly, it doesn't go both ways. I look up, detecting the emotion behind her words as moisture wells in her eyes. Aw, sis. I wrap my arms around her and pull her in for one of those heartfelt sister hugs. The squishes you feel clear to your soul. It's just bothering me because they're planning this weekend getaway where everyone's supposed to bring their kids. I pull back a bit. Who's they? The 40-something singles board, which I'm part of, mind you. So it's not like I think it's a bad idea, and it's not only for parents either. If you don't have kids, you're encouraged to come because it's likely your partner will have kids and you can, see if they're terrible brats you want to avoid. She chuckles and sniffs. I can't even imagine showing up to an hour-long event, let alone an entire weekend. The mere idea of having my kids there, too, nearly triggers a panic attack. I'd be constantly worried about what wild, snarky comment Lucy might spit out next. Or Martin, who hasn't exactly channeled his quiet voice when it comes to observations in public. Sick neck tat on that guy, Martin said about our waiter at a restaurant last night. Sick, meaning good, by the way. It was in earshot of the guy, but since it was a compliment, I kept my comments to myself and prayed inwardly that Martin would never get a cobra tattooed on his neck. Then Martin finished his thought. Too bad it's going to look ridiculous when he grows more chins. Thanks to Martin, I had to double tip. Not a nod to the impending chins, mind you, but so he could afford tattoo removal if the notion suddenly struck. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I say. That sounds like my literal definition of hell. Annika grins ruefully. Says the woman cooped up in a condo with Nini the Grouch. I laugh. Hey, I say, remembering something I overheard. Do you think Mom's serious about getting a tattoo? Annika shrugs. She could be. I hope she does it. We'll finally have one of those cool moms. We share a laugh, and I give my sister one more hug, along with a word of encouragement. You'll meet your man. It's all about timing. And it sounds like you should go to that family thing and weed out the guys with bad seeds. Ha, maybe I will. And if I were you, she says, backing up to fix her eyes on mine. I'd give Ross my notice, tell him I'm buying whatever place I'd like, and tell him I'm selling the car, too. If he likes the Camry so much, he can have it. With that, she climbs into her BMW, makes that engine purr like a kitten, and peels off. The tires give out an appreciative squeal. I watch her coast down the street, but I'm not really seeing her. Instead, I'm stuck with the image of my stronger self, doing all the things Annika suggested. A dart of longing sinks deep into my chest where it pulses, swells and prods. Do it, Ashley. Just do it. Yeah, right, I say wryly as I snap back into reality. Even my stronger self knows that's not going to happen.
Chapter 5. Liam. I stare blindly across the crowded cafe.